president declares that his administration has had enough of defending marriage. This is the CitizenLink report. Hi, and I am not Stuart Shepard. I'm Ashley Horne, filling in for Stuart Shepard this week, along with my guests, Vice President of Public Policy, Tom Minnery, and our judicial analyst, Bruce Hausknecht. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ashley.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very nice to see both of you. Well, let's jump right in. Tom, with you. The president declared this week that his administration is not going to defend marriage, and the Defense of Marriage Act has been in place for quite some time. Can you kind of tell us about the Defense of Marriage Act and what this decision means?
I'll be glad to. First of all, Ashley, we were shocked last week when we heard that the president, through the Department of Justice, would not defend a law of the United States. That's, of course, the Defense of Marriage Act, as you mentioned. That law has been on the books since the mid-90s. It's been passed by a wide margin. Both Republicans and Democrats signed into law by President Clinton, and it says two things essentially: that marriage for purposes of federal law is between a man and a woman, and that states which choose not to allow same-sex marriage do not have to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states. The Defense of Marriage Act, Ashley, has been the big bulwark against same-sex marriage flourishing across the country by same-sex couples who get married in one of the few states that offer same-sex marriage and then move to another state. States without it do not have to recognize it.
Mm-hmm. Bruce, does the Department of Justice and the White House, do they have the authority to just decide not to defend a law like this?
Well, interestingly enough, they do. As the executive branch of the government, the president has a constitutional duty to uphold the laws that are constitutional, that comport with the meaning and message of the Constitution. If he determines that a law is not constitutional, he has the authority not to defend that in court. You see that exercised only rarely in our history. And the Department of Justice itself has its own policy, which, although it responds and reacts only to what the executive branch tells it to do, they will defend any statute passed by Congress if a reasonable argument can be made for its constitutionality. Now, to say that marriage can be reasonably defended in a court of law is almost goes without saying. It already has been upheld by several lower court federal judges over the past several years, and suddenly the Department of Justice has come out and said, well, we don't think it's constitutional anymore and we can't make a reasonable argument for it. That's totally contradictory to what the facts are.
So, and you've mentioned this has happened in the past, although it's been rare. So some might be wondering, okay, so what's the problem? What is the big deal with the government not defending marriage in this manner?
Well, it's happened already. Since the Department of Justice made its statement last week, we've seen motions filed in a couple of cases, one in the Prop 8 case, asking the Ninth Circuit to change its decision in holding that gay marriages in California could not take place, pending the outcome of all the appeals. Well, the anti-Prop 8 legal team has already asked the Ninth Circuit to take away its stay, meaning let's have gay marriages in California right now. There's also another case pending in another district court in California where the judge has asked the Department of Justice and the administration what it's going to do now about defending DOMA, because its constitutionality is being challenged in one of those cases.
So we've got cases pending. Tom, is there anything Congress can do? Who's going to step in here and intervene in order to defend the Defense of Marriage Act, if anyone?
Well, fortunately, the conservative majority in the House of Representatives says it will step in. How, when, we're not sure, but the House of Representatives would be a very powerful institution to ask to be an intervener in the cases that now are chewing away at the Defense of Marriage Act. And if the House of Representatives does become an intervener, then you can be sure that the Defense of Marriage Act will have a strong defense.
So basically now we want people to know that they have time to get to their lawmakers and say, please step in here. Is that right?
That's right. It's a good call to action, a simple call to action for people to contact their member of Congress in the House of Representatives and say, please defend the Defense of Marriage Act.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for that update. And Bruce, thank you too for joining us.
Nice to be here.
You know, there are two ways that you can contact your lawmakers. One is to go to CitizenLink.com and click on our Action Center. That will let you get into the email that you can send to your lawmakers. The other way to do that is to go to CitizenLinkPetitions.com, sign the petition to defend marriage. That will also be directly delivered to your House lawmaker. We also want to thank you in general just for talking with us, encouraging us by email or phone calls. If you have anything you want to say, please feel free to contact us at mail@citizenlink.com. And remember, you can always pray for your elected officials. That is one of the most important things that we can do as a body. And as Stuart would always say, but he's not here, so I will say it for you, please remember to stand tall and be heard.